Hello and welcome to Property Investments UK, and in today's video we're going to be looking at a free guide on working with property sourcing agents and how their deposits work. So very often when investors are working with a sourcing agent to help them find property investment deals, that sourcing agent has specific terms and conditions, and these might vary from company to company, but there are some industry guidelines that will give you an idea as to whether that sourcing agent is kind of looking at the right type of setup, effectively for you ultimately, to whether you're not working with sourcing agents that don't have the right structure when it comes to paying deposits to secure a property deal. So some of the things to consider is whether you should initially pay a deposit, how much you should pay, and then also how that's going to be protected. So the first thing to consider on that in terms of whether you should pay a deposit or not, very often sourcing companies charge deposits because it's their only way to get some form of certainty that the buyer is going to go ahead with that project, and they have to then pass that certainty on to the seller of the property to make sure that they're comfortable that both parties are in alignment and that sale is progressing. But those properties don't have to be, or those deposits, sorry, don't have to be excessive. Very often the industry standard is about £500. Some companies charge slightly more, up to about £1,000 or so. But it's around that sort of level that gives some form of commitment to the deal. Now there's a couple of stages at when you might pay that deposit. The first stage could potentially be when you're securing a property, maybe it's off plan, and you want to lock in that potential deal. You'd buy that upon giving an offer for that property and starting the sales process very often. There's some other times when you might pay a deposit if it's maybe a large, let's say, refurbishment project, and you're going to exchange initially and then complete later on down the line when certain terms or stage or milestones have been met. So you might pay an initial deposit at the point of exchange rather than the point of placing the initial offer. There are some other occasions when sellers and investment companies might request a deposit in order to simply take it off the market. So if there's an element of due diligence that you want to do on a project, and it's going to take a long time to go through that due diligence process, maybe checking planning documents, maybe looking at feasibility studies, then often some companies will require a deposit for them to hold that property for you while you go through that due diligence process as well. Now again, there's different companies and different, let's say, standards depending on what type of deal you might be looking to purchase as to how that deposit is going to be protected. There are some companies out there that require that deposit to be paid directly to them, and you will forfeit that deposit if you don't then go ahead and purchase that property for any reason. So it's important to understand what the terms and conditions are around the particular deposit that you're making. There are some companies that also use escrow accounts. So it's held by a third party so that if the seller pulls out the deal for any reason, you get that that deposit returned. If you pull out the property for any other reason that there's maybe not legal issues or there's no problems with that particular property that weren't, I suppose, foreclosed at the beginning stage of the process, then you would again forfeit that deposit. So the terms and conditions that surround the deposit are very important. Finally, how that deposit is physically secured is important, because if you do pull out the project for any reason based around particular issues with the property, you want to make sure that you're going to get that deposit paid back, and that's where the terms and conditions outline it, but also how it's secured is going to outline it. If it's with a third party like an escrow company, it's going to be much easier typically to get that deposit back. If it's with a solicitor, again, it's going to be much easier typically to get that deposit back. So hopefully that just gives you some context as to why sourcing agents may require a deposit depending on the property deal and at what sort of stage, but also hopes it gives you some kind of context as to whether you should consider paying a deposit, what the terms and conditions are around that particular deposit, and whether it's a deal and a company that you trust to go forward with. Hope that helps, and look forward to catching up with you in the next video. All the best, take care. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this content and you'd like to join our free online property training course, we've got a link for it on this page. And in there we cover a range of different property strategies to help you get started, either building a long-term property portfolio or creating a cash-flowing property business. We also look at ways to increase your return on investment with any of the properties you're maybe considering. And we also have a couple of cheat sheets and downloadable documents in there as well. Simply click on the link to join the free training course today.